That was Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions endorsing Donald Trump yesterday. It is Trump's first endorsement from a sitting U.S. senator. This as Trump also picked up Governor Chris Christie's backing on Friday. Do these endorsements set up big wins for Trump tomorrow night? Joining us right now is the Daily Beast senior politics editor Jackie Kucinich and former Chris Christie chief strategist Mike Duhane. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Interesting endorsement from your former boss, Chris Christie. How important was that, do you think?
I think it's important. Donald Trump has a sense of momentum right now going into Super Tuesday. I think the other candidates all have important strategies that revolve around winning their home states, but I think someone's going to need to break through in one of these states beyond just Florida, Ohio, or Texas in order to have a chance to really challenge him at this point.
Jackie, you could have expected Jeff Sessions. This is Trump's critical, most important, part of his campaign, and that is immigration and keeping a cap on foreigners coming in.
Yeah, I can't say this was a big surprise. I mean, I don't know how many people it actually pulls to Trump rather than just sort of re-solidifying the people that he has. But other than Texas, it looks like the South is going to Donald Trump, and the other candidates can just sort of hope to pick up delegates on the margins down there. Now, we're looking at places like Minnesota and Colorado where people like Bernie Sanders and Marco Rubio are hoping to run up a tally in hopes of keeping up with their with the top of the ticket.
Michael.
Yeah. Well, Mike, in terms of the reaction to the Chris Christie endorsement, Meg Whitman and her very vehement backlash, how do you think Trump is going to be able to unite the Republican Party if he is the ultimate nominee?
There are certainly some people who are saying right now they won't join with Donald Trump. I think the issue will ultimately become if he does rack up a bunch of states. If he wins, he's on his way to winning, most of the states right now. How are elected officials going to go against the will of their own voters? I mean, I think that's part of what we're seeing right now. There are a lot of people who are upset. The bottom line is he's won 3 out of the first 4. He could win, 8, 9, 10, 11 states on Tuesday tomorrow. So I think right now that's going to be hard to go against the will of their own voters ultimately.
That's been the story of this election.
Yeah, and I mean, the story, and it's the way the system works. In the primary, you and your neighbors make the choice. And if people have made their choice, people talk about will the party come together or not, Mike. I'll put this to you, and I'll also ask Jackie. In the end, people have made their choice. They've got to get together and get behind their candidate. I
think one of the things many party leaders are going to have to decide is ultimately about Hillary Clinton. If the choice comes down to any one of these candidates versus Hillary Clinton, how are they going to react at that point?
Yeah, Dakin.
Yeah, Jackie, in terms of the fighting back against Trump and Marco Rubio looking like he'd had way too much Mountain Dew to drink starting on Friday. But he really, do you think that works for him? Because, again, that's not the Marco Rubio that the voters have gotten to know, and it doesn't seem like his authentic self.
Well, right, and you're absolutely right. That is a risk that he's taking, but they had to do something because coming up to this, he didn't even look like he was ready to fight for this nomination. We're seeing that now, but but at the same time, it might be too little, too late. I don't think a lot of people took Trump very seriously going into this, and we're seeing, the results of that now.
Jackie, I have a question for you, and this is really about Bernie Sanders and the Democrat Party and the way it works with the superdelegates. Are there Democrats out there who feel like their elections being determined because Hillary Clinton has clearly got the support of the superdelegates, and Sanders, no matter how much he wins New Hampshire, she gets delegates. He wins, she beat him in South Carolina handily. I thought he was never much of a contender for her. But what about the feeling that you really don't have a say if you're a Democrat voter?
I think that argument is going away at this point. The fewer states Bernie Sanders is able to win, the less the superdelegates are even going to matter. Hillary Clinton is racking up normal delegate wins, particularly going into Super Tuesday. Bernie Sanders, we saw in South Carolina, wasn't really able to make inroads with African-American voters. And that's continuing. We're seeing that in polling coming out of a lot of those southern states. He's in Minnesota. He's also in Massachusetts. He's probably going to win Vermont. But, his reason for being in this race becomes more of a message than an actual campaign very soon here.
Do you think it might be, though, he's already pulled Hillary so far to the left in terms of the primary voting? Will it make it difficult for her to get back to the center for the general election?
It's a really good question. It is a really good question. I don't know, though. I don't think so. I think Hillary Clinton's going to do what Hillary Clinton's going to do, and just going to try to make the most of it when you get to a general election.
All right, we'll leave it there. Jackie, good to see you. Thank you so much. Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. Leonardo.